Hello and welcome back to the Out of Spec Podcast. I have Jose from RivianTrackr, our Rivian guy, to talk about Rivian's enhanced highway assist. I know absolutely nothing about it, so of course that's why I brought Jose on to help explain what's going on. But this comes with Rivian's latest software update, 2025.06. Is that correct?
2025.06. Yep.
Perfect. And kind of going through your own website here, I mean, I'll kind of read off the top and then I'll let you explain. The Rivian Autonomy Platform Plus adds a new advanced feature to enhance the highway driving experience. Enhanced Highway Assist allows you to use Highway Assist while letting go of the steering wheel for extended periods in certain driving situations, as long as you're looking at the road. Enhanced Highway Assist relies on driver attention detection to confirm that you're paying attention to the road ahead of you. And that is with a camera in the R1 Gen 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. And that camera is funnily like hidden in the rearview mirror, right?
It is, yeah. It's an infrared camera located inside the rearview mirror. And so if you have a Gen 2 and you want to check it out, just take your phone and like flash a flashlight at it. It's hard to capture like on camera or photo, but you could see it in there. And so there's a couple of sensors and cameras in there.
Hilarious. Yeah, we're even trying to act like the camera's not there. But when Highway Assist is active, flashing hands appear around the Highway Assist icon to indicate the availability of Enhanced Highway Assist. To use Enhanced Highway Assist, that's a mouthful, take your hands off the steering wheel and pay attention to the road ahead. And of course, a few other, like the Go Chime. So Rivian is upping their autonomy game. As a Rivian Gen 2 owner, Jose, I mean, how exciting is this for you? As a Gen 1 owner, right? I mean, I might as well just throw away my car. It's worth nothing at this point. I don't get any of these updates. For you, this has to be super exciting.
Yeah, it really is. And first of all, like, I feel bad for Gen 1 owners, and I was a Gen 1 owner, so I will say what I always tell people is the only reason I got a Gen 2 is for content, right? Because I run a Rivian website, and it'd be like me reporting on last year's iPhone, right? Like, it just doesn't make sense to do that. So, but as a Gen 2 owner, Enhanced Highway Assist is really fun. It is definitely a step in the right direction. And I think that, I hate to like put similarities and like compare, but like you have to compare to other things. And so the way I see it is that this is a step forward as we get closer to what I think of as enhanced autopilot on Tesla, right? This is, very similar to Super Cruise and Blue Cruise, right? GM and Ford, where, you have these, and I think it's more similar to that, where you have these pre-mapped roads. And remember, unfortunately, at this point, we are still kind of stuck with this whole pre-mapped road situation. And I really do hope that one day we can get rid of it, and I think Rivian has kind of hinted at the fact that that will happen, but we can't assume. And Rivian, in fairness, has said many things in the past, and we don't, we have to just take it at face value. But for right now, yeah, it works at pre-map roads, and it's just a lot of fun, like to be able to take your hands off the wheel and just let it do its thing. And as you're showing there on Rivian's website, they RJ released a video, and with the gentleman who runs the AI program at Rivian, not AI, autonomy program at Rivian, and which does involve AI, but it was really cool. And so yeah, we can talk a little bit more about how it works and all that. But I think it's a good step forward, and everybody who has it and has received the update at this point that has tried it seems to be excited about it.
Yeah, I think this is always a good step in the right direction, right? You got to think previously you couldn't have your hands off on your Rivian Gen 2, and now you can. And so these small steps are leading to more bigger moments where autonomy is a real thing. What are some of the stipulations for these, driving as well as the amount of miles for the pre-mapped roads?
Yeah, so there are, and so let's talk about that. So I mentioned earlier, pre-map roads, right? So definitely Enhanced Highway Assist is limited to pre-mapped roads, typically highways or divided highways, right? Not all, right? Especially if you live somewhere where there's a lot of construction happening, like where I do. new roads and new highways get added constantly. New lanes get added because they're expand highways. So until Rivian maps those roads or geofences those roads, whatever it may be, right? We're kind of stuck, not being able to utilize that tool. But with enhanced highway assist, right, you enter a highway that's been mapped, and typically you just double tap the stock to put it into highway assist, and then just like was mentioned in the release notes, you have a little image with little hands around it, the same little icon that you see on the top where you would normally see your highway assist triggered. And when you see those little hands, you can let go of your hands. It will say enhanced highway assist has been enabled, keep eyes on the road. And now you can drive without your hands on the steering wheel, keeping your attention at the road ahead. Utilizing that camera that exists in the rearview mirror, it will then kind of actively look, detect you and make sure that you're paying attention, that your eyes are on the road. If you're having a conversation with someone, that's fine. You can look and say, oh, well, but just briefly, look back at the road. If you gotta look at your side mirrors, if you gotta look at your navigation, if you gotta look down on your driver display, that's okay briefly. But the car will then, show up a little notification and ping you if you alert you if you're not keeping your eyes on the road, for a long period of time. While I was recording my video that I did on the software review, a few times it definitely, I was looking down my phone to make sure that I was, in frame, was whatever it may be, and I got that notification where it was like, hey, keep your eyes on the road, and so I was like, okay, so. And yeah, so you can see there once the little hands come up, which it takes a minute. And so something I did experience with this is that there are definitely situations where you're driving on a pre-mapped highway and you just get an alert that says, sorry, enhanced highway assist is no longer available. Please put your hands back on the wheel. And that's not to say that highway assist is completely unavailable. It's just saying enhanced highway assist is unavailable. And I'm not really sure why that happens. I wish I could tell you why, but I don't. I really don't know. And the highway works perfectly fine. Everything's good. It works with highway assist, but for some reason it's like, nope, you gotta keep your eyes on. You gotta put your hands back on the wheel because I don't like it. Mm-hmm. And so. But then a few moments later, it would be like, oh, enhanced highway assist is available again. I was like, cool, okay. But so you get an alert there, you're looking at the video that's playing right now, and it's like, I put my hands back on the steering wheel, and I don't know why, right? Nothing around me changed, right? Traffic was constant, the road lanes markers were constant, right? It's a pretty recently paved highway, so it's all good. Unsure. When I did a U-turn and went back on this highway and flipped the other way, zero issues, right? I was able to use enhanced highway assist, hands-free, for a good 20, 30 miles. Nice. And it worked flawlessly, really. It kept me centered in the lane. When I'm ready to change lanes, I just tap the blinker stock and it moves me over the lane very flawlessly. And, definitely utilizing those new NVIDIA chips, that new autonomy platform in the Rivian now finally on Gen 2, because everything just feels a little bit smoother. And it doesn't, before I felt like with Gen 2, when you put the blinker stock on, it would throw you into the next lane very quickly. Now it's kind of okay, we're gonna smoothly go over, right? And it feels less jarring. And a few people have reached out and I noticed that it's smoother. I'm like, yes, definitely feels smoother. I never want to just say that and assume that because I may be biased and oh yeah, it feels smoother. But I'm no, there's definitely something in there that's just making it feel better. So that's what makes it great about it. And so it's just, I look forward to continuing to see this grow up, advance, progress up, and eventually eliminate those pre-mapped highways and just have the vehicle, which is capable of doing so, be aware of its surroundings and drive for you, so to speak, hands-free. And there'll always be situations where if there's construction or, the weather's really bad or whatever it may be, where nope, it doesn't feel comfortable, I don't feel comfortable driving, or the vehicle doesn't feel comfortable driving, please take control, you do it. Completely understandable, right? That's fair. And, but I look forward to getting there. But for right now, this is a pretty good step forward.
Yeah. I mean, every just said every step forward in autonomy is a step in a good direction. So Rivian says about 135,000 miles of pre-mapped road, compared to GM. Just from this GM event, I know everyone's tired of me talking about this, but they quoted 750,000 miles by the end of this year that will be pre-mapped for Super Cruise. And so it's going to be interesting to see how quickly Rivian is able to scale the amount of miles they have for their pre-mapped roads. On the flip side, really just want lane centering on most highways.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that would literally just be perfect. Yeah.
And I mean, and I think we need to set like some numbers here, because like that's awesome for Ford, but we also need to realize how many Ford vehicles are on the road, or Mach-E's, and sorry, let me take a step back. Super Cruise, right? This Ford Super Cruise is yeah, it's on both ICE and EVs, right? So like that's number one. But number two, so now you've gone. If I had just said, oh, Mach-E and Lightning, but like no, it's like it's Mach-E and Lightning and gas F-150 and 250s and etc. Right? Like it's everything, Mustang, etc. So like that's a lot of vehicles, and versus Rivian's a number of vehicles on the road. So we have to put into perspective the difference there, right? Ideally, the way that Rivian catches up is by eliminating that pre-map road requirement. Okay. That's really, honestly, the only way I think that works.
And of course, Rivian is using a combination of radar as well as camera to do so.
Yep.
It'll also be interesting to see what other maybe hardware iterations Rivian uses for some of their autonomous features. Will they kind of skip the radar game like Tesla, go straight vision, or progress forward like Lucid or Polestar and end up using LiDAR? Are there any other, I guess, tidbits or information about the, I guess, enhanced highway assist about Rivian that we should know?
Yeah. I mean, the other thing to be aware of is, obviously you are now so when you first enable enhanced highway assist, you do get a prompt that talks about privacy and security, and I think that's something important. We don't, especially today, people want to make sure that information that's being used is sent securely. It's not being utilized maliciously, etc. And I think that Rivian has gone the right way of being very transparent about it by saying, hey, when you do enable enhanced highway assist, we need to enable this driver attention detection camera that sits in your rearview mirror. And by doing so, we may potentially use your footage to, monitor, to review for safety, for security, to help improve, right? And so that's something that needs to be taken into consideration, is that when you do this, you are giving Rivian permission to utilize this footage of, whether it's, I don't know to an extent of how much they can see or do with that, but, keeping an eye on the road, right? How do we improve? Oh, different type of glasses, wearing contacts. I tried it today with sunglasses. Great news. It works because it's an infrared camera, so it can see through my sunglasses. So they thought ahead of that, thankfully. And we're like, I was worried. I was like, oh goodness, will it work with sunglasses? I have dark sunglasses, will it work? people have there's so many different layers, right? People are very different. People sit at different levels, heights, etc. So, but just to take that into consideration, that yes, Rivian is going to be utilizing this footage potentially to review for safety, security, for improvements, and all that. To an extent, I don't know, but it's all in there. When you go into your settings and you go into privacy, it kind of breaks it down for you in layman's terms. It's not like mumbo jumbo legal stuff. It's pretty much broken down in plain English.
Awesome. Yeah, hopefully, as Rivian says here, what's next? Next year, a hands-off, eyes-off feature is planned for controlled conditions with our current Gen 2 vehicles. And so just 2026, right, I think Rivian plans to be moving quite quickly with how they implement their enhanced highway assist abilities. Gosh, it's like, I don't even know what to call that. Enhanced highway assist. I feel like I'm saying a mouthful.
And for the record, Isaiah, right there, before you go too far, I like that. It talks a little bit about later. Go back down to the what's next. It talks about later this year, we plan to expand our hands-off, eyes-off capabilities to more highways and to select surface roads. That's what we want, right? I want to be able to drive locally. I want to, do all that. I'm not asking, I like driving. Let me be clear, right? And everybody's different. I don't want something where it drives me by itself. I want to be able to have fun with it, but at the same time, sometimes driving can be monotonous. And if I'm road tripping and I'm on a highway and it's just a lot of, it's 400, 500, 600 miles of the same highway.
Right.
I think it's okay to be able to, hands off, eyes off, ideally, not constantly, right? I think there's going to be a level of eyes off. There's definitely going to be maybe a time limit or something like that. But I think that there is a level of that. And then in terms of surface roads, yeah, I mean, I just, if I'm driving on a parkway, right, there's a lot of local roads near me, maybe going to a supermarket or whatever, it'd be nice if the vehicle could just like, oh, this lane is slow, let me move over to the next lane and speed up, and just kind of little things, again, remind me of enhanced autopilot from Tesla back in the day. I don't know too much about it these days. I know full self-driving is capable of doing a lot of stuff from point A to point B, which is great. But I don't need that. And I mean, I don't know if Rivian will ever get to that point. Maybe they will, but it may take a little bit while. And I will say that I feel like Rivian got this far quickly, comparably, right, to others. Now, I can't put statistics to that. I may be incorrect. Maybe it took them too long. I don't know. But I feel, as a Rivian owner, that we got here faster than I thought it would take, which is cool.
Yeah, hopefully Rivian is able to keep this pace. And I mean, I'm looking, it's very unlikely, but hoping some sort of autonomous features or creature comforts are added for Gen 1. Like Go Chime, we kind of talked about this before, if this is something that we can share, that will be coming to Gen 1 vehicles as well.
Yeah, the Go Chime, and for those who don't know, is kind of that little chime that when the car in front of you starts moving, if you're not actively paying attention, maybe you're on your phone, no judgment, it will kind of ping you. Right now, it only works for vehicles. So if you're like in front of a stoplight and the stoplight goes green, it won't ping you for that. Hopefully in the future it will. But yeah, that feature right now is working in Gen 2. Wasim, the vice president or software Rivian, confirmed that will be coming to Gen 1 vehicles, but they do, because it's a different architecture with the mobile eye system that's embedded in Gen 1, they kind of have to redevelop that, right? So it has to be redeveloped differently for Gen 1 vehicles. And so with that, it will come at a future release date. But I don't mean to sound mean when I say the following. Gen 1 owners are still waiting for launch mode. And so...
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, at least with my performance...
I will say...
Dual motor.
I'm just going to say, yeah, let me emphasize quad Gen 1 owners are still waiting for launch mode. And so, priorities, right? And I think that we have to be realistic with the fact that Rivian will always prioritize its latest generation vehicles, so Gen 2 versus Gen 1. And I think that the fact that Rivian will still continue to support Gen 1 vehicles with software updates and features and creature comforts and stuff like that is important, and it's good. But I do think that its older sibling, the Gen 2, will always be just a little bit ahead. And when Gen 3 comes out maybe in the future, it will be the same situation, right? Gen 1 and Gen 2 will kind of be like, oh, hello, don't forget us. But the reality is that, right? When Apple releases a new iPhone, hey, the previous year's iPhone still gets updated and all that, but eventually, that starts falling behind. You get an iPhone 15, the iPhone 11 probably like falls off the bandwagon. And so, but Rivian has made a commitment to continue supporting Gen 1 as far as it can, based on the hardware limitations of the vehicle, and then Gen 2, obviously, as far as that can.
Sweet. Look, if you guys are interested in learning more about enhanced highway assist and 2025.06, of course, I'll have
Jumping
Jose's.
years.
Right. I mean, I'm already ready for eyes off. That's what I'm ready for that update. But of course, I'll have.
You want to go to sleep and let it drive you.
Right. I mean, at this point, right, Rivian just needs to license Tesla's full self-driving. Right? It's a joke.
Oh, you just opened up a can of worms. Oh, my God.
Joke.
That's a whole nother show. That's not going to happen, for the record. Let it be known. Rivian is very much well embedded in building their own at-home stack, and which is fine. but it just means it's going to take a little bit longer because they kind of respectfully have to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
That's what's happening here.
It's insane seeing a company like Rivian, who, of course, they used Mobileye previously, but in essence, from the ground up, build their own autonomous system and try to compete with the likes of other automakers. And I'm excited to see them grow. But yeah, I was saying,
and I think that I think. Sorry, I was going to say the last thing.
no,
I think that eventually we'll see Mobileye retired, right? It won't be part of Rivian. Maybe R2 won't have Mobileye because by then Rivian will have its own, built this up enough that the Mobileye, I foresee a near future where Gen 2 vehicles will have Mobileye completely turned off. If that already hasn't happened, I really truly don't know, right? I'm hoping that I'm working on some interviews with Wasim, so hopefully we can get a little bit more details on this. But there definitely will be a future where Mobileye is turned off and we're using just Rivian's autonomy stuff. And then at that point, it'll be a cost savings of not having to put that in those vehicles. And maybe it'll be a Gen 2.5, maybe it'll be Gen 3. Definitely, I think R2 for sure.
It's exciting. Of course, I just wanted to give you your credit. So, of course, Jose's video will be in the description if you guys want to learn more about that software update, but as well as enhanced highway assist. But any other pointers you would like to make, Jose?
No, I mean, there's obviously 2025.06 brought some other fun stuff, wheel and tire swap. So now you can swap your own wheel and tires within the car's settings and all that, which is really cool. If you are a dual motor vehicle owner, you can finally purchase the performance upgrade for the low price of $5,000.
That's it. So cheap.
Yeah, same price as it is from factory. So they didn't add, it's not any more expensive. Could have been cheaper. Of course, you can use Rivian rewards for that as well. So if you have reward points that you're storing up, you'll be able to use those. And then just a bunch of other stuff, performance upgrades and all that. So I think overall, this was a very good update. I'm excited to see where the future of the Rivian autonomy platform goes. And then more importantly, something we have to, a final note here is some of these features will eventually cost money. And I think that we need to remember that, and it needs to be said. And I think I need to do a better job of reminding people about that constantly so that when that happens, it's not a surprise. Because eventually there is going to be a subscription cost or a one-time cost or whatever cost to these Rivian Autonomy Platform Plus features. Mainly, the enhanced highway assist, future stuff, all that. So like whatever it may be. When is that going to happen? Could be next month, could be next year. I don't know. Think about how long it took Rivian to get us connectivity, right? The Connect Plus and to pay all that. So, we had that for a lot longer than we probably should have, but we were waiting on Rivian, so like we took advantage of that. So I do not know how long it will they give us a trial, right? Rivian has pretty much said that through the rest of 2025 there won't be that this will be free. So like the question is, does January 1st mean that that's when we're going to get it or we'll have to pay for it? We don't know, but keep your eyes posted to Out of Spec and RivianTrackr, and we'll make sure to share this and definitely jump on the podcast as soon as we have more news on this type of stuff.
Of course, yeah, you are our Rivian guy. Of course, I will see you at what is it called? Electrify Expo.
Soon, yes, coming up. We'll be here in Orlando for that, so. Awesome. Will you be here or will you be traveling for Out of Spec? You're a busy man now.
I will be in Orlando. I will be
perfect
down there just on my own time. Looking forward to
I don't think Rivian is going to be there,
that is a good point. And last year they had the R2 there, but this year.
I asked and it's been crickets, but I don't see them on the automakers list. So, and that's fine. If they decide not to come, I will happily sit outside the parking lot with my Rivian and show it off.
Right. Well,
I'm going to go print a big QR code because, what I need is more referrals. So I'm going to put a big QR code.
Let me write that down. I'll get that really quick.
Yeah. I'll use your referral code. We'll use yours. We'll put a rotating one so that people, every time you scan the QR code is a different one.
Right.
Share the wealth.
Yeah. Share the wealth. Well, awesome. Beautiful. Thank you guys so much for watching Jose's video and article, and Rivian's own story will be linked in the description below. My name is Isaiah. This is the Out of Spec Podcast, and I will see you guys in the next one.